Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Tom with Capo Fetish. Let's talk about some great albums from 1974. In some circles, 1974 isn't really highly regarded, but I beg to differ. So I'm going to count off 20 of my favorites. And let's start it off here with number 20, John Lennon's Walls and Bridges. This was recorded during John's Lost Weekend. At the time, he was dating May Pang, hanging out with fellas like Harry Nilsson, hanging out at the Troubadour, causing havoc, drinking, drugging, being kicked out of the Troubadour with a Kotex on his head. Kind of a 18-month crazy time for Lennon. During this period, he recorded this album. I think this is a very underrated album by Lennon. Maybe not on par with Plastic Ono Band or Imagine, but there's some really, really high quality songs on here. Notably, Number 9 Dream, which was kind of a minor hit. Really well produced, really unique melody. That chorus is really unique. And then you've got the number one hit with Elton John, Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And there's some really great kind of deep cuts here. Everybody Loves You When You're Down and Out. Bless You is really great. It's a pretty good listen. I'd say over half is really, really good. The rest is just kind of subpar, but I say a fine album by Lennon before he went into retirement. I believe he recorded the rock and roll album after this and then went into semi-retirement for 5 years. But a good album, Walls and Bridges, John Lennon, coming in at number 20. Coming in at number 19 is Randy Newman's Good Old Boys. Kind of a concept record about the South, using Newman's kind of caustic, sarcastic lyrics. We're starting off with kind of Rednecks. Great start off to the album. Some really just choice numbers on here. Birmingham, Marie, great ballad. Louisiana, 1927. We have Back on My Feet Again, ending with Rollin'. All clocking in at about 37 minutes. Just a great short album. This is his follow-up to, I believe, Sail Away. And I think after Sail Away, this is my favorite Randy Newman record. Really strong record here. So Good Old Boys, Randy Newman, coming in at number 19. Coming at 18 is the official first solo album by Brian Eno. Here Come the Warm Jets. This is kind of a quirky, guitar-oriented type of album. A lot different than what he later do in coming years with his ambient music like Another Green World and such. It starts off with just a killer track, Needles in the Camel's Eye. Almost sounds like 5 years ahead of its time. Almost sounds like it could have been recorded in like 77, 78. The rest of the album is just full of just really quirky, oddball songs, though, that really work. Ending with Here Come the Warm Jets, the title track. Great album here from Brian Eno. Here Come the Warm Jets, coming in at number 18. Coming in at number 17 is Rock Bottom by Robert Wyatt. Really, really odd album here. It's very strangely, has just a really strange vibe. This was recorded after Robert Wyatt fell out of a window and became a paraplegic. He recorded the album in a wheelchair. You have people like Richard Sinclair on the album, people helping him out. But it kind of has this kind of weird, dreamy, eerie, dark, but also kind of beautiful vibe. It's really unlike anything I've ever heard. It's best listened to on the headphones. And by the time you're done listening to it, it's like you've experienced some weird kind of surreal dream. It's really hard to put into words. You really have to listen to it. It's kind of considered art rock, maybe progressive rock, but otherwise a really, really great record. But you have to be in a certain mood. But I highly recommend listening to this if you haven't heard it. Robert Wyatt, Rock Bottom, coming in at number 17. Coming in at number 16 is Tom Waits' second solo record, The Heart of Saturday Night. This kind of follows the first album, kind of in structure and style. Closing Time, his previous album. The title track is, in my opinion, one of his greatest songs. A lot of people forget with Tom Waits, when he started out, he was just kind of a bohemian singer-songwriter, signed to Asylum Records, one of the first artists signed to Asylum, before he went into all of the experimentation years down the line. This is a really great album with a lot of just great singer-songwriter stuff. This is coming in at number 16 for me on my list of 74 albums. Number 15 is Richard Thompson and Linda Thompson's I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. This is a really, really strong folk rock record, kind of dark, kind of very dark in places, very intense. You've got Linda Thompson's just gorgeous vocals coupled with Richard Thompson's and his really unique guitar playing. Highlights on this would be for me the Calvary Cross, The Great Valerio, Withered and Died. Really good stuff here. This is coming in at number 15 for me. I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight by Richard and Linda Thompson. Coming in at number 14 is Leonard Cohen's fourth solo album, New Skin for the Old Ceremony. This has one of his best songs, Chelsea Number 2, Chelsea Hotel Number 2. I think Janis Ian, songwriter Janis Ian, makes an appearance on backup vocals on a few tracks here. Some great songs here. Who by, let's see here. Who by Fire is great. Take This Longing. Some of these songs were played even later in Leonard's solo live career up till the end. But yeah, the highlight is Chelsea Hotel Number 2, song supposedly written about Janis Joplin. So this is coming in at number 14, Leonard Cohen's New Skin for the Old Ceremony. Coming in at number 13 is David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. This is kind of a dark sci-fi epic concept album coming off the heels of Aladdin Sane. I believe Pinups may have come up before this, the album Pinups, an album full of cover songs from the British Invasion. This album, though, has some really great deep cuts, along with the hits Rebel Rebel and the title track Diamond Dogs. You have Rock and Roll With Me, great tune, 1984, kind of a disco kind of tune, before disco made its, appearance. Sweet Thing is great, Candidate. Maybe not as strong as the trifecta of Hunky Dory, Ziggy Stardust, and Aladdin Sane, but definitely worth having in your collection. It's just shows the evolving Bowie, always changing. And then I think a year after this, he would do the Philadelphia Soul thing on Young Americans. But this is coming in at number 13, David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. Number 12 is the Rolling Stones' It's Only Rock and Roll. I think this is a really underrated Stones album. I'm really tired of the title track, but there's some really great deep tracks on this album. A few of my favorites would be If You Really Want to Be My Friend, Short and Curly's, Time Waits for No One, great solo there by Mick Taylor. Till the Next Goodbye is a real favorite. This is very underrated in my opinion for Stone 70s albums. So this is coming in at number 12. It's Only Rock and Roll. Coming in at number 11 is the last album by Graham Parsons, Grievous Angel. This is a 2-for set on a CD with GP. Recorded with Emmylou Harris and released or recorded mainly in 73, posthumously released in early 74. This contains, I think, one of his greatest songs, Brass Buttons. I think later on Elvis Costello did a really fine cover of that as well. But just some really fantastic songs. Hearts on Fire, of course, Brass Buttons. You've got a medley with a version of Hickory Wind on it. And you got one of the greatest versions of Love Hurts on here. So, yeah, this is a lot of, there's a lot of story behind this record. Of course, Graham Parsons staying at the Joshua Tree Inn, overdosing, his body going to the airport, his friend stealing the body from the airport, taking it out to the Joshua Tree National Monument, and setting it afire. And it's just a story like it was made for television or something, just unbelievable. And about 5 to 7 years ago, I remember staying at the Joshua Tree Inn in the same room that he died in. And the room was just full of paraphernalia all over the walls. There's weird kind of sounds going on. I don't know if it was just my imagination, but really weird, interesting experience staying at the Joshua Tree Inn in the room he died. But great album here by good old Graham, and really important in the development of country rock. So this is Grievous Angel by Graham Parsons from 74, coming in at number 11. Coming in at number 10 is a fine singer-songwriter album from the 74, Jackson Browne's Late for the Sky. Just the other day on Shuffle, I heard Fountain of Sorrow. I think that's one of his greatest songs. For a Dancer, Before the Deluge, just chock full of just great, heartfelt singer-songwriter tunes by Jackson. Kind of dark in places, but just great. Great album. One of his best, I think, next to For Every Man. So this is Late for the Sky, Jackson Browne, 1974. Coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Neil Young's On the Beach. This album has really grown on me over the years. It has a killer kickoff tune, Walk On. The second track, See the Sky About to Rain. This is a song that he was performing live like 3 years earlier in like 71. And great tune. And then you have these really just kind of long, kind of just moody pieces like Revolution Blues, Vampire Blues, Motion Pictures, song On the Beach. It's really unlike any other Neil Young album from this period. Of course, it's part of the, the so-called Ditch trilogy, which includes Time Fades Away and Tonight's the Night. Love this album, On the Beach, Neil Young, coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Procol Harum's Exotic Birds and Fruit from 74. This is one of their best latter-day albums in their initial catalog. Side 1 is just absolute perfection. Nothing But the Truth, Beyond the Pale, As Strong as Samson, one of their greatest songs, one of Gary Brooker's best vocals ever. The amazing Gary Brooker. Ends with The Idol on side 1. Side 2 is almost equally as great. Fresh Fruit, Butterfly Boys, New Lamps for Old, Monsignor Armand, The Thin End of the Wedge. Just a really solid later Procol Harum album. I think that stands up with their earlier stuff like Salty Dog and Shine On Brightly. This is coming in at number 8, Procol Harum's Exotic Birds and Fruit. Coming in at number 7 is Stevie Wonder's Fulfilling This First Finale. This is an album that a lot of people don't talk about, even though it's part of that just five album string of just perfect albums, starting with Music of My Mind, Talking Book, Intervisions, this one, and Songs in the Key of Life. This has one of my absolute favorite Stevie Wonder songs on here called Creepin', just a beautiful ballad ending side 1. You got the hit Boogie on Reggae Woman, great song. Heaven is 10 Zillion Light Years Away, another just gorgeous track. Stevie at this period could just do no wrong. In the 70s, from about 72 to 77. I mean, the guy was just cranking out nothing but quality. And then you've got the funky opening on side 2, You Haven't Done Nothing. Just fantastic. It's a great, one of his best albums in my opinion. Stevie Wonder's Fulfilling This First Finale, coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Bob Marley's Natty Dread. This is the first album without Peter Tosh aboard. You've got now the I3s doing backup vocals, which includes Bob Marley's wife, Rita Marley. This is just a great set of songs. It's almost kind of a rebirth for Bob, and just one of many great 5-star albums of his in the 70s. You got Lively Up Yourself, the original version of No Woman, No Cry. Then Belly Full But We Hungry, Rebel Music, 3 O'Clock. Side 2 is great, Natty Dread, Bend Down Low, Talkin' Blues, Revolution. Just a fantastic set of songs. This is coming in at number 6, Bob Marley's Natty Dread. Number 5 is the Kinks' Preservation Act 2, great double album following up on Preservation Act 1. So it's kind of like a 3-parter here, or a 2-parter, depending on the album. But Preservation Act 2 is just a great, it's a very timely record about dictatorship and, good versus evil, very timely in this day we're living in, time and age. Just a great selection of songs. You got announcements throughout the album kind of telling you what's going on in the story. Highlights are just abundant on this album. Money Talks, Shepherds of the Nation, He's Evil, Mirror of Love, Scum of the Earth, Secondhand Car Spiv, Nobody Gives, Artificial Man, Scrap Heap City, Salvation Road. Just a great album. I think this was ahead of its time, and I think it's very, very timely of what's going on today. So Preservation Act 2, one of my favorite Kinks albums, coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is, I think, one of the best prog rock albums of all time. Genesis's The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Side 1 and 2 are absolute perfection. more kind of compact, kind of more poppy songs. Sides 3 and 4 are more theatrical. This is a very cinematic album. I mean, as soon as the title track kicks in, it feels cinematic. Feels a lot different than their previous album, Selling England by the Pound. All the players are at their peak. Peter Gabriel, Tony Banks, Mike Rutherford, Steve Hackett, and Phil Collins. Drumming has never sounded better than on this record. It's just a masterpiece. I saw the Canadian tribute band called Musical Box perform this last year in its entirety. It was just spot on and perfect. This is one of my absolute favorite albums of all time. Love this album. Genesis, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the second Big Star album, Radio City. This is, in my opinion, one of the greatest albums ever made. Alex Chilton at his songwriting best, also his guitar playing best. It has so many great guitar lines and guitar parts. Every song's amazing. Oh My Soul starts it off. Life is White. Way Out West, sung by Jody Stevens. The drummer, incredible. What's Going On, great ballad. The side 1 ends with You Get What You Deserve. Side 2 is just a plethora of amazing tracks. Maud Lang, Back of a Car, Daisy Glaze, She's a Mover, September Girls, one of the greatest power pop songs of all time. Morpha 2, and ending with I'm in Love with a Girl. This is just one of those 5-star masterpieces. One of my favorite bands of all time, Big Star, Radio City, coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Steely Dan's Pretzel Logic. This could be my favorite Steely Dan album. This is the first one I ever bought of Steely Dan. It's just one of those perfect albums from start to finish, starting off with the hit Ricky Don't Lose That Number. And just, you know, this is the first Steely Dan album with like shorter songs. The previous album, Countdown to Ecstasy, had more kind of jammy type songs, but just incredible songs. Any Major Dude Will Tell You, Berrytown, one of my absolute favorite Steely Dan songs. Parker's Band, the title track, Pretzel Logic, With the Gun, Charlie Freak, Monkey in Your Soul. Is one of my top 5 albums of all time, I think. Pretzel Logic, Steely Dan, coming in at number 2. And my number 1 is the epitome, in my opinion, of an absolute perfect record, and that is Court and Spark by Joni Mitchell. It has just absolute ace studio musicians playing all over it. Larry Carlton, Tom Scott. You've got David Crosby and Graham Nash singing backup on Free Man in Paris, and I believe Car on a Hill. Jose Feliciano appears on, I believe, one of the tracks as well. You got Cheech and Chong on the last song, Twisted. This is her move towards more of a jazz type thing. It's more pop jazz, but there's still more folk type tinges in there. It's just a perfect album of perfect songs and arrangements. There's not an instrument or guitar out of place. Her vocals are just at their peak here. And Court and Spark, the title track, Help Me was the hit single. Free Man in Paris 2 was another single. Perfect. People's Party is the same situation, ending side 1. Car on a Hill starting off side 2. Down to You, amazing arrangement, just like This Train. God, incredible. You've got a little rocker, Raised on Robbery, Troubled Child. That chorus on Troubled Child, it just gives you a chill up your spine. Then ending with the cover, Twisted. Joni doing her little jazz routine there. This, my friends, is a perfect album. One of my absolute favorite albums of all time, and my number 1 of 1974. So there's my top 20 of 74. What are your favorites from 74? Let me know. Thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.